Yaffee program on WVNN.
All right, we'll start with breaking news today because this is the Yaffee program, and I always promise the latest news, and we'll get your reaction to this on the Yaffee text line. But it does say here that the Senate committee has held Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress. So the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee voted to hold Anthony Fauci, Dr. Anthony Fauci, in contempt of Congress after a bitter hearing last week where the retired public health official invoked the Fifth Amendment for fear of self-incrimination and possible prosecution by Republican lawmakers who have routinely vilified him for his handling of the COVID-19 response. I mean, he deserves it. Apparently, the vote was adopted along party lines, but Republicans have the majority. I've already kind of told you what I thought about this, and really, I got this from Christopher Reed, but I think he's right. So you can hear the Daily Controversy with Christopher Reed, 2 to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday here on WVNN. He's a retired lawyer, and he brought up a good point, that you can hold him in contempt. They're going to recommend it charges, but I don't think they have a case because you have states now promising to investigate him and go after him. So the reason why they're holding him in contempt is they say the Biden pardon gives him immunity, so he can't incriminate himself, so he should have to answer questions. That's the argument. But the Biden pardon only gives him federal immunity. It does not give him state immunity. So technically, he could still incriminate himself on the state level. That means he basically has a good defense on why he can plead the fifth here. So this is going to be more symbolic. I seriously doubt they will arrest him over this or anything like that. Or even if they do end up arresting him, I don't think it would hold up in court. Put it that way. So we'll have to see what happens. But the Senate has held him in contempt. And at the very least, he does deserve to be held up in court for everything he's done. As I mentioned, you are listening to the Yaffee program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute. Here on Newstalk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. In a moment, apparently we have to talk about $20 burritos. That is a thing that apparently exists, $20 burritos. I will explain this whole debate. It's going on in conservative circles, and it has to do with the cost of groceries and inflation, and basically how conservatives should respond to all of this. So we'll get into that in a moment. I do have the Alabama bullet points coming up as well. At the bottom of the hour, we'll talk a little bit more about the socialist takeover of the Democrat Party because we have U.S. Senator Katie Britt and U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville. They were both on Fox yesterday talking about the issue of the socialists, but also talking about how Republicans should respond to this. And it kind of goes along with the whole burrito debate. So we'll discuss that. There is news out of Iran as well. I will get to that in the hour. In the next hour, we'll speak with Cameron Smith. He is a columnist for AL.com and a columnist for the Tennessean, which you can find at Tennessean.com. We talked to him a bunch, so he's going to join me in the next hour. And Walker is here. That means she'll do What's Trending later on in the show. Walker, how are you today?
I am feeling a little stressed.
A little stressed? Well, don't do that. See, you like that? You like my advice? Just don't be stressed? Does that make you feel better?
It helps so much.
I just say don't be stressed. Well, there's a really funny bit that Mad TV did years ago where it's a therapist and they go to the therapist and she's like, oh, I get claustrophobic and I'm just afraid of things. And the therapist just goes, stop it. Stop doing that. And the whole bit is just him telling them to stop being stressed and stop being afraid.
It makes me think of the meme where the guy is saying, stop it, get some help.
Yeah, except that he was supposed to be the help in the bit.
Right.
He was just saying, stop it. Stop that. Stop being stressed. All right, we'll end the show with the Yaffee program Rewind. And we always take your text messages on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866. 494 WVNN. One person texted in and said, does Fauci's pardon protect him from treason? I actually think it does. If that's a federal crime, it would, unfortunately, but I think it actually does. I'm not a lawyer, but unfortunately, I think it actually does. All right, so the great burrito debate that has been going on, mostly online, among conservatives. And it has to do with what some are calling the affordability crisis. And I'll give my take on this in a moment. But all of this started because someone with TPUSA posted this on X. He said, one of our TPUSA college students gave me his take on affordability. A burrito shouldn't cost $20, was what this kid said. Yeah, a lot of this is a hangover from COVID and Biden-era inflation, but the lived experience is the same. It just feels like basic things cost too much. So a lot of people are responding to this, like, say, Ben Shapiro and others, and are pointing out that, one, a burrito doesn't cost $20. Where are you getting a $20 burrito? Now, food has definitely got more expensive, especially fast food. But it's still not $20. So when you talk about the so-called lived experience, I don't know where you're getting that lived experience. Now, Mark Thiessen commented on this, and he said, Cry me a river. The burritos in the college cafeteria are included in your meal plan. So he kind of mocked it. Then Vice President J.D. Vance weighed in, and he said, I'm surprised to hear Mark say this. If you've ever met him in person, it's quite obvious the man has never missed a burrito. So J.D. Vance called critics fat. This is where we are in our politics now. J.D. Vance just says, oh, yeah, you're fat. I mean, a lot of this is very dumb, I have to say. Now, a lot of this also came from Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire. And this is what he said. He said, the conservatives on here denying the affordability crisis are engaged in what I can only describe as an act of political suicide. They're also lying, which is the worst part. Grocery prices are up. Housing, energy, insurance, healthcare, basic living expenses. It's real. It's happening. Denying it makes you look out of touch, deceitful, and untrustworthy. It's also a completely unnecessary and unforced error. No credible person is claiming that Trump caused these price surges. You don't have to disgrace yourself by denying the reality in front of your face just to prove your loyalty to Trump. The causes, for the most part, are multifaceted, complicated, and long-standing. That's true. So let's discuss them. Debating whether the problem exists at all or if it does exist is a total waste of time. Now, Matt Walsh has also blamed the war in Iran for some of this. And that's where a lot of this debate started because he's like, stop the wars and that will help affordability. I mean, it would help gas prices, which does affect everything. But when you're looking at grocery prices and other things, no. The reason why we have an affordability problem is because we spent way too much under COVID. We just dumped cash everywhere into the economy. And then after that, both Republicans and Democrats decided, hey, let's just keep these levels of spending. So even after COVID, we didn't go back to pre-COVID levels. We just made that the new normal. And of course, it's going to cause inflation. And what that really does is it forces us to raise interest rates to lower inflation, which also hurts people like in my generation much more when they're trying to buy a house or a car or whatever it is when interest rates are high. But my general take on this, and I posted this on X, is one, right now in my life, I'll be honest, I make more money now than I ever have in my life. Now, what I make is not anywhere close to what most of the people commenting on this online make. Most of the people that are actually participating in this debate don't really have to feel it. I do. I'm not making millions of dollars, okay? But even with me making more money than ever, I admit sometimes things still feel tight. Obviously, stuff seems more expensive. Now, I think one of the issues here is in this debate, we have people calling it a quote-unquote crisis. Not everything that's a problem is necessarily a crisis. That's part of the issue here. There there is an affordability problem with groceries, is it a quote-unquote crisis? Not really. And I also think making this debate about Iran is pretty silly. But I will say this. While grocery prices have affected my budget and my family, it's not really the main driver that makes things feel tight. And I'll go over the stats a little bit later if we have time. But grocery prices have not really gone up that much in the past couple of years. Now, everything has gone up since COVID. But really, there are just a couple of areas of groceries that are more expensive. Eggs, which actually went really up then went back down, and beef is one of them. So there are a couple areas where, yes, it's more expensive, and the tariffs are apparently having an effect. But if you listen to this show, you know I have been talking about the issue of affordability in certain areas of our economy for a year now? So people are catching up. The real problem when it comes to high prices in our economy, it's housing and rent, which a lot of that's tied to the interest rate. It's healthcare. It is energy, yes, and childcare. And I should have put, in childcare, I should have put school, like tuition, daycare, private school, stuff like that. And what you notice about all of those areas that I mentioned is they are also, and you could actually include groceries into this, they are also the most regulated and subsidized parts of our economy. The fact is, where the government is involved the most is actually where prices have gone up the most. So the point I have is that there are free market solutions to this problem. Prices have gone up. Republicans need to push these ideas. But a lot of people are being dishonest in this debate. Because while prices have gone up, so have wages. And in some areas, wages are actually beating prices. So even though prices have gone up, wages have gone up more. So you can point out how prices have gone up, but prices have been going up for the last 200 years. Why do we not focus on that? Because wages usually go up with those prices for most people. So if you're going to have a debate on this, you also have to talk about it relative to wages and wage increase in this country. And most people I see talking about it are not doing that. So we can kind of mock people and say you can get a $20 burrito. There are some unrealistic expectations among some people in this country, younger people. But there really is a problem with affordability. Most of the problem is not with groceries. Most of the problem is with housing, rent, healthcare, childcare. That's where the real issue is. And that's what we have to address. It needs to be more targeted. Once we just say, everything's so expensive, I can't afford food. Relatively speaking, we still do pretty well in terms of what we can afford to buy to eat. So perspective is needed as well. If you want to weigh in on this, you can. I'm trying to be a voice of reason on it, but I'm curious your take. You can weigh in on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. We'll get to the Alabama bullet points coming up next. Much more to get to on the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN. On WVNN.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program. We're here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. As you know, I'm Alabama's voice of reason, and if you miss any of the show live, the podcast is up for free, by the way. Since we're talking affordability, you can listen for free. Look at that. Anywhere podcasts are available. All right, let's get to the headlines right now. We have those Alabama bullet points.
Alabama bullet points. Today's headlines from around the Yellowhammer State.
Okay, put down the burrito in there and pay attention. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Number 4 today, Alabama federal judge nominee Greg Cook dodges questions over the 2020 election in January 6th. That's what some are accusing him of doing anyway. Alabama Supreme Court Associate Justice Greg Cook, nominated by President Trump to the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Alabama sidestepped direct answers during his Senate Judiciary Committee confirmation hearing when Democratic senators questioned him about the 2020 presidential election and the January 6 Capitol events. When asked who won in 2020, Cook stated that a joint session of Congress certified Joe Biden as the winner as a matter of law, and later noted the Electoral College vote favored Biden, while on January 6 he acknowledged violence, vandalism, and attacks on law enforcement, but hesitated to broadly label it an attack on the Capitol before clarifying that some individuals did attack it and denouncing the violence. Number 3, I wrote about this at YellowHammerNews.com, and it's actually from my show yesterday, my interview with Tuberville. But U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville, who is the Republican nominee for Alabama governor, he said this gubernatorial race is not really against Doug Jones. It's really a fight against socialism and communism. So he said it's a broader battle against things like communism rather than a simple partisan contest. So on my show yesterday, he argued that Jones embodies an ideology favoring open borders to maintain power, opposes core Alabama values like law and order, and wants to phase out school choice, an idea Tuberville championed school choice as essential American freedom and opportunity. He vowed to prioritize better education options and resist what he called the Democratic Party's socialist communist agenda, insisting such policies would overwhelm the state if Jones were elected. I don't think Jones is going to be elected, though, just so you know. Number 2 today, activists are demanding the release of a Honduran teen held by ICE. This is after an Albertville traffic stop. Now, he has been confirmed as an illegal immigrant, by the way. So activists from Alabama, Georgia, and Pennsylvania and other places are demanding the release of an 18-year-old Honduran national, Elder Chavez Carranza, who has been held by ICE at a Louisiana facility since December of last year. Now, he was originally arrested in Albertville after a traffic stop in which Alabama troopers found the driver lacked a license, and ICE confirmed he was in the country illegally. Now, Carranza, who was a 17-year-old high school junior living with his sister as guardian after arriving in the U.S. in 2022, claims he received special immigrant juvenile status in September and is seeking a green card. Apparently, though, there are reports that he was supposed to take certain steps and he just didn't do it, so he remained an illegal immigrant. And number 1, we'll play some cuts of this in the next segment. But U.S. Senator Katie Britt reacted to Abdul El Sayed winning a Democratic primary in Michigan. She called him a jihadist sympathizer and says that he's the new darling of the Democratic Party. So U.S. Senator Katie Britt criticized a left-wing candidate, Abdul El Sayed's victory in the Michigan Democratic primary over the establishment-backed Representative Haley Stevens, calling it a sad day for America and labeling him a jihadist sympathizer who has become the new darling of the Democratic Party. She said this on Fox News. Britt argued that the Democratic Socialists of America and the movement hates America and seeks extreme policies like abolishing ICE, police, and jails. She also accused El Sayed of aligning with such views and associating with figures like Hassan Piker. She warned that these are radicals, they're infiltrating from within, and that the future of the country is at stake, and is hoping Mike Rogers, a Republican in Michigan, defeats El Sayed in November. So we'll play some of what she said. She had some interesting comments on that. And Tuberville, who was really frustrated at the Republican Party in the Senate as a whole because there are things they can do. There's things they could try to pass. They could have a real agenda to counter the Democrats, and they're really not accomplishing anything. And he's frustrated because it looks like the Senate's about to go on recess, and he's not happy about that. So we'll talk about that. Right now, I got to talk about Larry's Pistol and Pawn. They are the sponsor of the Alabama Bullet Points. Talking about affordability again. If you want a great deal on some jewelry, you maybe think, well, I wanted to get my girlfriend something nice or my wife something nice, but I can't afford it. Well, you can if you go to Larry's Pistol and Pawn in Madison off Greenbrier Exit 3. It's next to the big rusty water tower. They have all kinds of gems for you. They have gold, silver, platinum, white gold, much, much more. They have earrings, necklaces, bracelets, watches, and much more as well, and all for a great price. Or if you need an engagement ring, they can do that for you as well. There's a reason why a lot of my family, they've bought jewelry there. I've bought jewelry there. So go to Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Find out more on the website, pistolandpawn.com. It's pistolandpawn.com. Let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
Start your day with the morning jolt of Drake Toll.
Anywhere in the country.
Your home for talking sports.
The United States hockey team has 4 teeth left. What is LeBron James' legacy? Lionel Messi. 906 career goals is stupid.
All of it.
The Knicks. The Los Angeles Lakers. Aaron Rodgers. Georgia football player. The Dolphins. The Mets. As it happened, when it happened, we'll talk all of it.
Westwood One Sports Talk. Your home for Drake Toll. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
All right, back here on the Yaffee program. We are here on Newstalk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Glad you joined the show. We were talking about $20 burritos and the debate over affordability, and some calling it a crisis. I did look up, and the reason why this has become a big issue is you have the rise of Democratic Socialists in the party, in their party. And some believe it's because Republicans have not really addressed the affordability issue enough, and that's why you're seeing the rise of socialism. So they make this whole grocery price thing a big issue to point out that it is a problem and it needs to be addressed. But I think if we're going to address a problem, we need to address real problems, not theoretical, I guess, $20 burritos, but what's really driving the cost of living for us. But I did look it up, and it's kind of amazing. We now have different AI generators that we can use for free. You can use Google Gemini, X, you can use Grok. I mean, there are things you can use for free. It's so easy to find statistics on this stuff now. It's not difficult, but people don't do the research. But I was just looking up some of this. So grocery prices, according to Grok, have gone up about 33% overall since 2019. Now, that is a lot, 33%, no doubt about it. Now, when you look at it annually, it went up about 3.5% in 2020, 3.5% in 2021, then hit 11.4% in 2022. That's when we had the inflation everywhere really going on. Then it went up 5% in 2023. In 2024, it went up only about 1.2%. So in terms of inflation, that's pretty low. In 2025, it went up about 2.2 to 2.3%. And this year, it is a little bit more, about 2.7 to 3.4%. Now, if you break it down, ground beef has really driven a lot of this. If you take out ground beef and eggs, it's really not that bad. But grocery prices, the reason I point this out is, okay, so it's gone up 33%. And that's not good. And we notice that, and it's gone up in a short period of time, so we just really notice it. But you can't really talk about these things unless you really bring up average wage growth as well. So according to Grok as well, if you're looking at wage growth since 2016, so when I was talking about groceries, I did it since 2019. I guess I could do 2019, but wage growth since 2016, the last 10 years, is about 47 to 52% up nominally in current dollars. So even though grocery prices have gone up, 33% in the last 10 years, a little bit more, wages have gone up 47 to 52%. So I just have to point out, while grocery prices being high, it can be a problem. That's wages have kept up with that in a lot of cases, in a lot of ways, for a lot of people. Now, obviously, there are individual circumstances that are different. I don't want to get into all of that. But that's just the reality. But then you look at other things, like, say, housing prices, and yes, it's gone up a little bit more. So since 2019, U.S. home prices have risen about 50 to 60%. So grocery prices gone up about 33%, but home prices have gone up 50 to 60%. Now, they say if you adjust for inflation, it's about 20 to 30. Most of the gain occurred during the pandemic stuff. But the reason why and when we're talking about home prices, it's not even that home prices have gone up that much. It's that interest rates have gone up that much to deal with the inflation. And you look at your monthly mortgage payment, and most of it's going to interest. So that's what's caused a lot of the problem. We have to have realistic expectations. We have to be truthful, looking at the actual stats of what's going on. We can admit prices still feel too high. But when we just start complaining about $20 burritos, if you think it shouldn't cost, you just have one, unrealistic expectations. And when we start calling everything a crisis, that usually leads to people wanting the government to solve it. That's why you have government grocery stores now in New York City. Because instead of just being kind of a problem, it became a crisis. But in terms of the cost of food in this country, we are not at the point where it's a crisis. It feels worse than it did, but it's not crisis levels, relatively speaking. The percentage that we spend of our budget on food is still pretty low, not only compared to the rest of the world, but historically. So we just, I just wish people would be honest about these debates. Now, I know that U.S. Senator Katie Britt yesterday, she was on Fox, and she was talking about the rise of socialism in the Democrat Party, and we can address that here. In fact, Walker, do you have the audio that I sent you?
I do.
Okay, great. Go ahead. Skip down to cut 2 of Katie Britt. But this was Katie Britt talking about the victory of El Said.
Look, Bill, this is a sad day for America. The fact that this man could win an election is absolutely unbelievable. We know that this Democratic Socialist of America movement has shown us that they do nothing but hate America. We saw them actually on your very network talking about all of the things they wanted to see. No ICE. They wanted to see no police. They wanted to essentially do away with the government. No jails. All of these kinds of things. But let's connect the first conversation we had to this one. And when it comes to Iran and it comes to what's happening, he is actually a jihadist sympathizer. We saw him just 2 days ago, El Said, at a pool party with Hassan Piker, who said that America deserved 9/11. These are not people who stand with us and for our values, and they're infiltrating from within. We have to make sure to stand firmly and say we love this country, we want to fight for the citizens of this country, and we want to make sure that there's peace and prosperity here and across the globe.
Okay.
All right. There you go. I think she's technically right on that. That you just look at the words of saying El Said, it's problematic. And people might wonder, okay, why is it that you have those on the left that will align with radical Islamists? And it really goes back to the idea that in the world, they look at the Islamists of the world as a minority group, an oppressed minority group. And they automatically, even if most of the radical Islamists will not align with a lot of the values, other values of the left, like LGBTQ stuff, it's like convenient bedfellows, the enemy of my enemy is your friend kind of thing. So that's a part of it. And just, a hatred of the country. Those who hate the country will align, at least temporarily, to hate the country. Go on and play cut 3 of Katie Britt.
It's not a blue dot. This is a purple state. This is the Midwest. This is Michigan. What does that tell you about where the energy is in the party?
That tells me that the Democratic Socialists have taken over the Democratic Party, and we have to stand up to it and stand firmly. The future of our country is at stake.
Well, it'll be something to watch.
All right, there you go. So if you want to weigh in on that, you can tell me. We have our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. No, one thing I've talked about when we're talking about affordability, we're talking about issues in healthcare. And maybe if you're 65 years or older, you're dealing with Medicare, You don't really know where to go to get help. It can be hard to manage. Well, let me tell you where to go. VIP Care. Go to the website, getvipcare.com. Their senior healthcare model and local clinics are designed for your comfort. With same-day appointments, more time with your doctor, and a team of Medicare experts, you get the care you need so you can enjoy life. So they don't just treat illnesses and symptoms. They find out what's causing them. Their doctors listen, ask questions, and work with you to create a plan that fits your needs. So it means more time with your doctor. It's data-driven care. It's tailored to you. It's coordinated so you get pharmacists, specialists all in one place. It's community-based because the clinics are located right around the corner. I mean, they have ones in Huntsville, all over Alabama, actually. And convenient support. Your health is made easy with accessible providers and all your information in one place. Go to getvipcare.com. If you know someone who is 65 years or older, or maybe you are as well, and you need a team of Medicare experts to help you, getvipcare.com. When you go, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. We'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program.
The Yaffee program.
We're back here on the Yaffee program. News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Appreciate you joining the show today. So I'm laughing because I'm looking at the great burrito debate of 2026 here online still, and people complaining about $20 burritos that apparently don't exist. There is a guy by the name of Jeffrey Kaufman, who did a pretty good job of breaking down some of the numbers on a lot of this stuff and pointing out that, yeah, there is an affordability problem in some areas. But when you look at it, so he put up the stats as well. He says, so far as I can tell, it's simply not true that food has gotten more expensive in real dollars in the United States. Why are people convinced this is true? What's the evidence? And basically, he pointed out what I pointed out, that when you take into account inflation and also wage growth, it really has, grocery prices they've gone up in terms of what it seems like, but when you take into account inflation, adjusting for inflation and wage growth and everything, it really hasn't gone up that much other than ground beef and eggs. And maybe a couple other things. Now, he also pointed this out, though. I thought this was pretty funny. He said, I priced burritos for $8 at the Walmart in New Hampshire. He said 2 pounds of ground beef would be $8.88. 8 large tortillas would be $2.12. 2 cans of refried beans, about $2. 8-ounce shredded cheese, $1.97. 8-ounce sour cream, $1.37. 1 large onion, $1.16. 3 tomatoes, 87 cents. Total $18.38. So he priced it out. If you got the ingredients at Walmart, you could actually make 8 burritos for under $20. So we're talking about $20 burritos. I don't know if it's helping your debate on affordability. But there is an issue on, Republicans right now for the midterms, you can tell they're kind of scared because they think they're going to get wiped out. There's going to be a blue tsunami or something. And Tuberville's frustrated because outside of campaigning against the radical left, which did help Trump win in 2024, they don't really have much of a message. So Tuberville did talk about this yesterday on Larry Kudlow's show on Fox Business. Go ahead if you can, Walker. Play Tuberville cut 1 for me.
Very important article showing that people are paying more in taxes. They're spending more on tax payments than on food, clothing, and shelter. And the Senate, with all due respect, Senator Tuberville, and you're one of my favorites, as you know, but the U.S. Republican Senate ain't doing a thing about it.
I have to agree with you, Larry. You're exactly right. We're getting ready to go on a recess. We're only in 2 weeks in September. We're off the whole month of October. I'm with you. We need to give the American people something before the election, or it's not going to be good. And that's going to have to be reconciliation. Now, whether we do 1 or 2 before the election, We need to make a decision on that. But if we don't do something and turn this around on the Democrats, because they just hold us hostage every day. You know, we're getting ready to try to do a farm bill. Now they're changing all the rules with the farm bill. We can't get anything done. The farmers are dying on the vine. So you're exactly right. We've got to give the American people something to chew on for the next few months so we can keep the majority up here, but we're not acting like we're the majority.
All right, now he's been calling for nuking the filibuster in order to change that. And Larry Kudlow, what he's saying is there is one opportunity, once again, for people to save money that when you actually look at it, we're still paying more in taxes than we are in other areas. So there are still some opportunities to cut taxes. And you can make that part of an agenda to help with affordability. And it would help the middle class. We're not talking about tax cuts for the rich or anything this time. We're just, middle class taxes. Going to play cut 2 of Tuberville.
Well, there is an our economy is really good.
Yes.
If you look at all the factors, it's all out there. It's all about marketing, though, Larry. But you got to give it to these socialist, communist Democrats. They play hardball, and they keep us on one subject, and we stay on that subject, and we don't get on the positive things. We've had to play negative ball with these people for the last 7 or 8 months. President Trump's been trying to push several things like the Save America Act. But at the end of the day, what is it about? It's about the economy. It's about the economy. And it is getting better, and we've got to sell that. Hopefully we'll do that for the next 2 months, but we could help that if we'd go out and do a reconciliation, maybe 2 of them before the election, and give the people something to chew on and give them some wins. But right now we're not getting any wins. We're just sitting around twiddling our thumbs, and people are complaining we're going on vacation.
All right, and they are about to go on vacation, which is not a good look. I mean, I understand John Thune says they want to go on vacation because they want to send the senators home and the congressmen home. That way they can go home and campaign. But, without passing a lot, what are they going to campaign on other than against the radical left, which seems to be the play here? I'm going to play Tuberville cut 3 for me.
And if you go back to one thing, the people back in Alabama talk about, obviously, they want their vote to count. But the one thing they say is, Coach, what about all this dang fraud? We're losing $100 million an hour in this country to fraud and theft. $100 million an hour, that's $1 trillion a year. And we continue to just sit around and say, oh, we're going to fix it. J.D. Vance is trying to do that. President Trump is trying to do that. But we got to sell that to the American people. Joe Biden and the Democrats damn near put us under with all these people coming in, and fraud is just rampant across this country. But we got to give them the information where they can chew on it before the election coming up. Because if we don't give them something positive, we're going to be in tough shape.
By the way, on the burrito thing, I see someone posted, I think this was Seth Dillon of the Babylon Bee. He said, y'all got me in a mood for a burrito, but it was over $23, but it includes the tax, the delivery fee, the service fee, and the express fee. Getting it on DoorDash and the tip. So is that what it's like for DoorDash? I don't really get DoorDash ever. But you have to pay a delivery fee, then a service fee, and then if you want it faster, an express fee? Is that a thing, Walker? Do you ever get DoorDash?
Sometimes.
Are there really all those fees? Delivery fee, service fee, express fee, and tip?
Pretty much. Though express is definitely a choice that you can make. Man, I have to admit, it's one reason I never get DoorDash, because I'd be kind of upset too. It took the subtotal from $10.24 to $23.36 and doubled the price. Yeah, a lot of the times it will near double the price.
Jeez. All right. Cameron Smith of AL.com will join me next here on the Yaffee program.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
Mic Drop, hosted by former Navy SEAL Mike Ridland.
How would you characterize your prowess?
I'd say my style is that I just kind of outwork everybody till I get there.
Because I'm not a quitter. It's just you, and that's yourself.
Whereas everything else is team-oriented.
The motivation, it was a sort of anger at myself for being weak. That ends up being the driving factor. That anger, that pride, that ego, I think it's a muscle. It gets stronger. When you take that voice seriously, you start to change your life.
Mic Drop. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Yaffee Program on WVNN.
Joining me on the show right now is Cameron Smith. He is a columnist for the Tennessean. You can read all his stuff at Tennessean.com. Cameron, how are you, sir?
Well, I'd be better if I was getting some of that $100 billion tariff refund.
Okay, so yeah, talk about that. You had mentioned that off air to me. Pretty upset about that whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, we talked, y'all recall Liberation Day, which is when Trump assessed these tariffs. And my comment on Liberation Day was he doesn't have the authority to do that. He was just unilaterally winging it. This was a Democratic policy for decades that he just decided he liked, which was fine, but he needed to go to Congress and get authorization to do that. Instead, he proceeded and said, oh, we'll be fine, no big deal. And the court said, big deal. You don't have authority to do this. Therefore, you can't just tax Americans, and essentially ordered the Trump administration to offer refunds for the illegal tax that it had collected. And what's happened is you, me, and all your listeners got to pay those tariffs, and now they're going to pad corporate bottom lines, and to the tune of $100 billion. And you think about it this way. You got to pay a tax to pad a corporate bottom line, and you didn't really get anything for it. The government just transferred your money to them, and that is a pre-written Democratic campaign ad just waiting to happen. And it's shameful because this is just arrogance. This was, I can do what I want. This is what I like. I'm not going to work with Congress. I'm not going to get them to enact a law giving me this authority. He lost in court, and you and I get to pay for it, and it's eminently frustrating.
You know, speaking of the tariff issue, I don't know if you've seen this debate going on online about the affordability crisis. This is among conservatives and grocery prices. You have one side that kind of says grocery prices, it's a crisis because it's increased too much, and they use the word crisis. And then you have other conservatives pointing out that yeah, grocery prices have gone up, but we still pay as a percentage of our spending as an average American. We still spend a lot less on groceries than we did, say, 50 years ago or something. Now, the reason I bring that up with you is a lot of this has been caused, not a lot of it, but some of it has been caused by tariffs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, tariffs that impact your imports do raise prices. They are inflationary in nature, and this is what those of us who are free market, limited government types have been screaming at the Trump administration that tariffs are not good policy. They're just taxes, right? They are protectionist taxes. And this is, well, we're showing the globalists, no, you're not. You're taxing your own people. And that's what's happening right now. So this is just a perfect storm of terrible heading into the midterms. And the only thing that is a saving grace for Republicans is you've got Democrats being actual socialists. So, Democrats are literally telling the American people, yeah, we think we can figure this out better than you can. We're going to tell you what to believe, think, and feel, and what your economic options are. And, hey, we're even in New York going to create our own government groceries. Yay! That is helpful to Republicans, but good grief. At a time when people are struggling with, getting hit in the wallet, telling them, well, don't worry, if you lived 50 years ago, you would be paying more as a percentage of your income. Nobody cares. They care about what prices are right now, and the fact that the president's answer to where we are is to make things more expensive is tone deaf and silly. And so I think if you want to get massacred in the midterms, this is exactly the way to do it.
Yeah, I guess one of the frustrating things, though, is a lot of people that are starting to bring this up, they're blaming the war in Iran, saying it's because of Iran that food prices are up. And is that true? I mean, I understand I've heard fertilizer prices are up and the gas prices are up, but have we seen a major increase in prices on food because of the war in Iran?
Well, tell me about the Iranian food that we eat domestically, Yaffee. I think you have your answer.
Yeah.
Yes. The Iranian war or wars or whatever we're on does impact things like oil supply, which touches everything. The war in Ukraine impacts fertilizer. Like any global commodity is affected by anything anywhere around the globe. Like that is true. But the idea that, oh, it's not the tariffs, it's the Iranian war. How is that supposed to make things better? Because Trump started the Iranian war. The whole, hey, we are stopping the nuclear ambitions of the Iranians, and so they actually started it. Okay, fine, but we've been hearing that for almost 50 years. The issue was we had Iran in a stasis. We had already told the American people, hey, we've debilitated their nuclear capacity, and then we went in again, and we haven't succeeded at anything. But now I believe we're negotiating at what the fees should be for Iran on the Strait of Hormuz, which didn't exist prior to this debacle. So the fact that it's not one debacle that's raising prices, it's actually the other debacle. Well, they're both falling squarely on the administration, and I don't see using either as the excuse for the other is a very good argument, because right now it's just ugly for Republicans.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, really the big argument is that we're spending too much, or the government's spending too much, right? I mean, that's really what's caused all this. Despite, I mean, you have the tariffs, that's true too. But if we're going to talk about food prices, inflation, what's happened in the past 20 years or whatever, really since 2019, it's the government spending that's caused most of our problems, right?
Yeah, and again, we need to be honest about this as conservatives. Trump has overseen a massive amount of that spending, trillions and trillions. Trump has spent more than Joe Biden. I want to be real clear about that. Trump has spent more than Joe Biden. And so the idea that we were going to get DOGE and fiscal conservatism and we were going to really rein in the federal government, that hasn't been true. Trump has decided that, well, I'm just going to wield the federal government differently. Now, you and I may like some of the policy choices, like where Trump's been on immigration, but in terms of spending, it's just in a different direction. That's it. And so for me, we're in a really a big world of hurt, because it's either we stick with the Republicans behaving like socialists, or we support the actual socialists. Like there's not a conservative option on the table right now, which I think begs for some leadership, begs for somebody to come up and just say, hey, I'm different. Can we do the conservative thing again, where we don't set everything on fire, where we don't empower the government, where we don't get entangled in foreign wars? That's not on the table. And so it's again, we're choosing between the lesser of two evils, and I just don't like choosing evil.
Speaking with Cameron Smith, he is a columnist. I mean, it's my kind of understanding when we're talking about too much government spending, it's really because we made COVID levels of spending the new normal. Like after COVID, we didn't go back down to pre-COVID levels. We just kept going up and up and up. And both Democrats and Republicans have done that. Although I'm guessing the Republicans will say they had no choice because there was such a slim majority that the Democrats would have forced a government shutdown if they actually try to make real cuts. But what would your response be to that?
My response is Democrats tell me they want to tax us a lot and spend a lot. Republicans tell me they want to cut my taxes and spend a lot. Now, you tell me which one drives bigger deficits and debt. I mean, the answer is pretty clear. It's actually Republicans that are doing that because they want to keep taxes low and spending high. And they always have a good reason why they can't rein in spending. But the truth is, they just don't want to. It's not politically popular to cut the juice off to the roid rage bodybuilder. It doesn't go well. And they're afraid that if they cut, I don't know, we spend roughly $2 trillion we don't have every year right now. If you cut $1 trillion out of the federal budget, it has a massive economic impact. They're not silly. They know that would be tough economically, and at a time where we should be belt tightening because the stock market's doing well, the AI investment is sort of bolstering our economy. That's when you tighten your belt. Instead, Republicans are saying, hey, let's blow it out the door. So when an AI bubble pops or we hit some real catastrophe, we don't have any dry powder to stimulate the economy or do anything like that. We're just stuck. And, if we spend let's call it a $4 trillion deficit. I mean, the inflationary impacts of that would just blow an economic hole in our country. And it's just leaders that don't want to do hard things and don't want to be honest with the public that are putting us in a very dangerous position. And we need to stop this blaming the other side and cheerleading for our side. Everybody in Washington right now is contributing, and Republicans are in charge, and they're spending $2 trillion we don't have. That's the truth.
Cameron Smith, really appreciate you coming on the show. As always, my friend, we'll talk to you again in the future.
It's the Yaffee Program on WVNN.
We're back here on the Yaffee Program. This is News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. I am Alabama's Truth Czar. This is Huntsville's Disinformation Board. Got someone weighing in on the text line about Cameron Smith, columnist with AL.com and the Tennessean. Joins me sometimes on the show. He's not happy with Democrats or Republicans, Cameron, when it comes to government spending. And he makes some good points there. But I will say, I know some people hate when it's easier said than done to cut spending when you have such a slim majority and the Democrats keep uniting to shut the government down. Anytime we try to cut just a little bit, the Democrats say, we're going to shut the government down. But he's right that even on the Republican side, there are a lot of Republican voters that get government goodies and they don't want to give it up. And that's a problem. But the person on the text line said Cameron Smith is a jerk. What happened to Nancy Pelosi's Anti-Inflation Act, and who controls the purse? The U.S. House of Representatives. This guy isn't honest. But the texter also said, Yaffee, great show today. Good work. You are underappreciated. I am. Thank you. I am underappreciated. I appreciate that. Now, listen. Republicans have definitely not been perfect when it comes to government spending. I mean, they haven't. They haven't really been willing to give the fight. They're not as bad as Democrats, but that doesn't mean they're great. But what got us into this situation, it was COVID spending, which, we all said, okay, it's an emergency. We have to do that. But as soon as Biden got into office, they passed the American Rescue Plan Act. That was supposed to be more COVID spending. But it was after the pandemic, so it was not necessary. Republicans did not vote for that. Then they tried to pass, what was it called? The Build Back America Act or something. Well, Democrats couldn't get that done, but they passed the Inflation Reduction Act. Remember that? Also without Republican support. So that increased inflation. But then, and part of this is Republicans' fault, mostly the Mitch McConnells of the world, but then that became the new normal. Those levels of spending, it wasn't like those were just one-time spending things, and then we went back to pre-COVID levels of spending. No, we just kept up the spending. So if you want to deal with real affordability problems, you can blame Trump for Iran, gas prices. You can blame the tariffs. That's part of it. But it all goes back to just the massive spending that eventually was going to be inflationary. It ended up being inflationary. The only way to really get the inflation down was through higher interest rates. And if you have a mortgage, you're paying those interest rates. And so that really has an effect. Also, the healthcare stuff doesn't help. All right, speaking of Iran, though, I do want to update the latest on Iran. Because according to CBS News, there's a bunch of new stuff coming in today on this. But it says Iran intensified its threats toward its Gulf neighbors last week, conveying messages it would black out the entire region if the United States struck its power plants and rattling off a list of specific targets. The warning followed threats by President Trump of a massive attack against Iran, which he later walked back over the weekend, citing requests from Saudi Arabia. Now, Israel has also struck Hezbollah in the last 24 hours. We could talk about that, but this is really the big news. Also, according to CBS News here, it says Iran and Oman are nearing a new agreement for managing traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, with Tehran insisting the framework represents a new security model for this strategic waterway rather than a full reopening of the strait. That's according to Iran's state news agency. So the proposed mechanism would regulate the movement of commercial vessels with ships entering through Iranian waters and exiting through Omani waters. Now, they're defining it as a new model that is different from the 60-year-old practice of the past. Now, President Trump has said the talks could result in a deal concerning the strait being announced as soon as today. The agency said the success of the arrangement would depend on whether other nations in the region and worldwide accept it. So are they going to toll? I've said for a bit, what I really think, if we're not going to try to finish the job, what we should do is bomb any area in the country where we think there might be nuclear materials, another Midnight Hammer type operation, and then leave. Because the middle ground isn't working. And no deal is better than a bad deal. I would say that as well. Now, President Trump did comment on all of this yesterday. He actually held a rally in Las Vegas this week. So go on and play the Trump cut for me.
And we're doing the same thing, by the way, in the lovely Islamic Republic of Iran. We're not going to have I'd rather make a deal because I don't want to kill people. I do not want to kill people. But at some point, we're going to. We were set for the biggest attack of any attacker. We've hit them very hard for the last few months. But we were all set for the biggest attack since World War II. And they called me and they said, please don't do it. Let's talk. And then they said, we never said that. You know what? The fake news knows they did say that. But we are talking. Let's see what happens. But they respect us. They respect us. It's been 47 years, but really it's been 50 years because they've been saying 47 for 3 years. It's been 50 years. And no other president has done what you should have done a long time ago because Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Can't have it.
All right. So he says they're talking, even though Iran denied it. He says maybe we have to hit them hard. We've kind of heard a lot of this before, frankly. Now, J.D. Vance, who tried to broker a peace deal, the whole memorandum of understanding, has faced a lot of criticism for that. But he defended himself. Going to play J.D. Vance cut for me.
If they want to make me own the effort to try to bring this war to a successful conclusion, I'm happy to let them make me own it. I am absolutely trying to do that. Those oil prices are going to come down and stay down. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, and the United States will be in a stronger position. But we're kind of in the middle of the game, and I think people are trying to prejudge exactly how this is going to go.
Okay. I mean, of course they're going to prejudge. What do you think? We'll just be, we're in the middle of the game. Okay, never mind. Well, we shouldn't talk about it. Okay. Anyway, U.S. Senator Katie Britt, she was on Fox, also defended Trump so far on his Iranian policy. Play the Katie Britt cut for me.
Look, I think this is the week. President Trump is the ultimate deal maker. You can see what has happened through the coming weeks, the strength that he has projected. Look, Iran knows when President Trump speaks, he means it. And he has said, I am done with you kind of walking in circles here. I am ready for a pathway forward. He has said we have to have complete nuclear disarmament. He wants to make sure that they don't have the missile capabilities that we now see that they did have. And I'm so grateful to President Trump for diminishing that. Also, their capabilities to replenish. Look, and in addition to that, making sure that their naval fleet was sunk and that we have this strait open. President Trump is doing what someone should have done 47 years ago. He has said, when you say death to America, I am going to believe you and I'm going to hold you accountable and make sure that my citizens are safe. I think that he has got them in a position where they're looking for a pathway forward now, and I am grateful for his leadership on this.
All right, she says she's grateful. Like I said, either finish the job by forcing the strait open with all our military, having Israel bomb inside the country. As soon as the strait feels safe, then we really have the leverage against Iran. Or we just bomb Pickaxe Mountain, a couple other areas, and leave. I mean, those are our options, I think. I don't think we're going to get a good deal. But you can weigh in on the text line, 866-494-9866. Right now, I'm going to weigh in on my good friend. You want to talk about a good deal? You know, we won't get a good deal with Iran, but you will get a great deal at Jay's Appliance Outlet. That's exactly right. Off 72 in Athens, you're going to get some amazing deals on new appliances like brands Whirlpool, KitchenAid, GE, and more. If you're looking maybe for a new refrigerator, they have ranges and cooking solutions from trusted brands. It's exceptional quality, and they get new inventory all the time. Plus, it's family owned and operated. You go in there, on most days, you're going to talk to Jay himself, honestly, and he's just going to help you out. I mean, customer service is great. If you call them, dial pound 250, say the keywords Jay's Appliance Outlet, you'll talk to a real person there. Much better customer service than maybe one of those big box stores. They can also service any of your appliances as well. Go to Jay's Appliance Outlet today, jaysapplianceoutlet.com, and when you do, let them know you heard about it from Yaffee. Got What's Trending coming up next.
The Yaffee Program.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast. These players are battered and exhausted, but you don't hurt like this if you don't care about this team, about this country, about this
I
game.
think you can feel the intensity.
The goals, the energy, wow, look at us.
Here in the U.S., I have got some news for you. There's so much more to come. My name is Megan Klingberg, and we're just getting started.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henkel. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. We're back here on the Yaffee program. Don't forget to like the Yaffee Facebook page. Follow me on X at Yaffee or Instagram at Yaffee Live. Someone on the text line was complaining that Google can't get Yaffee right. I know. It's very annoying. But the texter got it right. Yaffee. So that makes me happy. What can I say? All right, Walker is here, so let's do it. We have What's Trending with Walker.
Keeping you up to date with all that's trending in your world.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
You guys know how to post videos to Facebook?
It's What's Trending.
Sponsored by Coleman Furniture Market, located on the heart of Coleman, Alabama, in the heart of Coleman, Alabama. And they have a big Labor Day sale already going on right now. So if you go down to the store, see their giant showroom, you can see the amazing prices. Well, now you can get even better prices for their big Labor Day sale. So if you're looking for new living room furniture, dining room furniture, bedroom furniture, or maybe even patio furniture, get some great deals on the best brands right now at Coleman Furniture Market, even good deals on mattresses. So check it out. Go to ColemanFurnitureMarket.com, like their Facebook page and Instagram page, see some of the latest stuff. And when you do, let them know you heard about it from Yaffee. All right, Walker, what's number 5 today?
Number 5 today, Buc-ee's has filed a lawsuit against a mini mart in Beaver Creek, Ohio, called Beaver's Mini Mart. And
go ahead, sorry.
They are claiming that the Mini Mart's Beaver logo could confuse customers, despite the store not having any gas pumps and being miles from the nearest interstate.
I do not understand this hardcore strategy by Buc-ee's to go after some of these trademark things.
Yeah, it's like, how dare any other convenience store have an animal or a 2-syllable name?
It just, Buc-ee's is beloved by the vast majority of the country. And this kind of stuff makes them look bad. I do not get, because not only is this not a gas station, no one's going to confuse it with Buc-ee, but it's in, what's the city?
Beavers Creek, Ohio.
It's in a city called Beavers Creek. So obviously it's named because of the city being Beavers Creek. Like this idea that it's somehow a competition for the trademark. But I know they've been doing, they went after this big convenience store, I think it's another gas station in Ohio maybe, where they have a moose mascot. And they're like going after them. Oh, it's similar.
My goodness.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, it looks similar. But that gas station has actually been around longer than Buc-ee's has in the area.
This mini mart's been there for over 2 decades.
Yeah, so this idea that I just don't get what Buc-ee's, it's completely unnecessary by Buc-ee's to do this. They already are iconic. There is no need for this, but I don't know. I guess they figure they have to go after all of them now, and maybe they'll lose some of these, but they'll win enough to protect their brand. I don't get it.
And
I don't get it.
To support this mini mart, a company called Cincy Shirts has created merchandise to support their legal fund.
Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would support it. It makes Buc-ee's look bad, and people love Buc-ee's. Why damage your reputation this way?
Yeah, and
Makes
it's
no sense.
like going after this mom and pop convenience store.
It looks so bad. Maybe it's just people that work for Buc-ee's in the legal department that are just justifying their jobs. So they're just like, who can we sue now?
Right.
I don't know. Crazy. All right, what's number 4?
Number 4, Claire's is changing up its ear piercing service with new clinical training and a hand pressurized piercing device, as well as more jewelry options.
Did you ever shop there?
I definitely got my ears pierced at least twice there.
Oh, okay.
Because I got them pierced when I was very young.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember crying a lot. Because it's really the noise that scares you, because it doesn't hurt very much. And then I just didn't wear earrings enough, and the holes closed up, and I ended up having to go back and do it again.
Interesting. Well, it was a big deal when I was a kid, but I didn't know like if people still go there or not. I guess they do.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that this piercing device being pressurized instead of spring-loaded will get rid of that sound and maybe make it a much less traumatic experience for young girls. Oh, yeah, I didn't think about the sound. I never got my ears pierced, so I don't really know. It was not... I take that back. My twin sister, when we were like 4, tried to pierce one of my ears. Because her ears were pierced. And so she took a little Minnie Mouse earring and tried to stick it in my ear. And I remember that hurting a lot. I would say it's like a very loud stapler right in your ear.
Okay. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. All right, what's number 3?
Number 3 today, Neil Armstrong's childhood home is for sale. And in his room, there are autographed photos of astronauts who have previously visited the house.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, I can't imagine there's much to the home, but...
Yeah, it's currently owned by a retired history teacher who was devoted to preserving like the character and its past. And now it's on sale for the first time in 40 years.
I don't know how much he's selling it for. And I wonder if someone will buy it. I have no idea.
I'm wondering too. It's surprising to me because I feel like usually stuff like this turns into a museum.
Yeah.
But I guess that there's probably enough dedicated space museums that they don't really need
that's
it.
true. Usually if you want to go see something, you go to the Space Museum in Huntsville or Kennedy Space Center. So, yeah, you're not going to Neil Armstrong. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe there is a market for that. No idea.
Apparently the home was built in 1944.
Oh. Well, that makes sense, considering the time.
Yeah. And that was after already moving around about a dozen times because his father was a government auditor.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. All right, what are we at, 3?
Yes.
3.
Well, no, 2.
2,
sorry. In Germany, at one of their airports, it's either Hall or Holly Airport, a drone with explosives was found, and authorities had to go in and defuse it, and says that this is posing a new quality of danger.
Yeah, the drone issue, because they found that, and I guess maybe that was, I don't know, had it been there a while, or do they even know?
I'm not sure that they know how long it's been there, but they diverted planes to other airports after the flying object, the drone, was seen
I
shortly
mean, this is something
before
that's
midnight.
been talked about like in Congress because it really is a threat because it's so easy to get a drone and so easy to fly it different areas. And I mean, we've literally seen it in wars. Those are a little bit more sophisticated drones, but you don't really need a very sophisticated drone to be able to do some damage. So how to combat that problem is an issue for our future, no doubt.
And they have no idea who could be responsible at this time.
Yeah, that's the other problem because the person doesn't have to be close. That's a good point. All right, what is number one?
Number one today, Sesame Street has a new extreme weather episode. It follows Elmo and his friends as they work together to get ready for a big storm and help rebuild in its aftermath. It is hoped that this will help kids understand extreme weather better and kind of what happens afterward.
Okay, I'm almost surprised they haven't done this before.
I'm
To be honest
surprised as
with you.
well.
That's kind of a new thing.
Apparently, it's because extreme weather is becoming more common.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Right. And they're just helping make it more normalized.
It's funny,
I guess.
my 2-year-old Evie watches a show called Daniel Tiger. It's like a PBS show, and they did an episode on like it wasn't really like extreme. It kind of was. Yeah, there was an episode where I guess a storm was coming, so they all stayed in the house, and then they had to clean up afterward. It's pretty similar. So I guess this is a trend. They feel like it helps kids understand it.
Yeah, it even includes Elmo and his father helping hand out food and water to their neighbors.
Yeah, sounds very similar to the Daniel Tiger one. So, I mean, they're both PBS, so it might have like similar writers.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. I mean, we had to think about that in Florida. We grew up there with hurricanes.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about that. All right, thanks, Walker. Appreciate it. We'll be back with the Yaffee program rewind here in just a moment.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
We're back on the Yaffee program. This is News Talk 770 AM 92.5 FM WVNN. Glad you have joined the show. By the way, guys, you'll be glad when you make an appointment with the Huntsville Men's Clinic. They're celebrating their 5-year anniversary, and they're part of a team that's treated Alabama men for ED and low T for almost 15 years. And if you think you might have low testosterone because you deal with low energy, motivation, drive, you don't think like you used to, could be caused by low testosterone. Get it checked. Very easy to do. $99. You get that PSA test, testosterone test in about an hour, and you get treatment options before you leave. So go to HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com or make an appointment by giving them a call. 256-368-0333. That's 256-368-0333. HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. When you make an appointment, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, that time of the show, once again, we have the Yaffee program rewind. Yes, it is that time of the show where I remind you, if you missed any of it live, well, the podcast will be up on the website at WVNN.com. You can catch it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, any of your smart devices as well. And it's free. We've been talking affordability today. So it's affordable because it's free. Huh? Oh, see what I did there? Anyway, yes, at the beginning of the show today, I went over the great burrito debate of 2026. Where it all started because someone with TPUSA asked another employee there, a younger employee, about how maybe high prices are affecting them. And the guy said in response, I just don't think a burrito should cost $20. And this started a whole debate, not really just about the burrito, because what burrito really does cost $20 unless you're getting it on DoorDash. But it started a debate on whether really there is an affordability crisis in this country, especially with grocery prices. Well, yes, things are more expensive. We had inflation really right after COVID and the spending and everything. But I also pointed out that when you look at the numbers, in terms of grocery prices, when you take out beef or eggs, grocery prices really have not gone up as much as everyone's saying, especially in the past couple of years. And wages have really kept up with a lot of those increases. And the reason I point this out is, as you know, if you've ever listened to the show, I have been talking about a real affordability issue that affects people like me, honestly. I mean, most of the people having this debate online, they're not really affected by this. They're very wealthy themselves. Now, maybe they weren't always wealthy, but they are now. But I know most of you listening, and myself included, I make more money now than I ever have, but still sometimes things feel tighter than they should. And that's really because even though I make more, it would have seemed like a lot more just 5 years ago than it does now. I think one of the issues, though, with this debate, as I mentioned earlier, is that we call it a crisis. It's an affordability crisis. Not every problem that needs to be solved in this country is automatically a quote-unquote crisis. And a lot of times when we say something is a crisis, then we want the government to solve our problems. I mean, that's what we did during COVID. It was a crisis, so we had shutdowns for months on end. I also think a lot of people are connecting this to Iran, saying if we weren't distracted by foreign wars, we could address this. One doesn't have to do with the other. The only way Iran really has an effect right now is gas prices have been higher, and that can affect you. But really, that hasn't had that much of an effect on grocery prices. We have not seen that as of yet. But there are certain areas of our economy that really do seem too expensive. It really is an affordability problem for a lot of people, especially people my age. And it's housing and rent. A lot of that has to do with interest rates. It's healthcare, which healthcare costs just keep increasing. We can talk about the problems there. Energy is a problem, but it's really been, even that isn't as bad as it could be because of our energy policies. And childcare or school. If you want to put your kid into a preschool or childcare, it's very expensive. But you might notice that these are also the areas of the economy that are most affected by government subsidies and regulations. We spend more in our government already on healthcare than ever before. We spend more on these entitlements than we do on the military. So this idea it's because of Iran doesn't really make any sense. Republicans need to address the issue of affordability in these key areas, but they need to offer free market solutions and point out what's really causing it, which is inflation caused by government spending and over government regulation and subsidization, which screws with the market if we're going to address these problems. But instead, we're debating about burritos, I guess, which do not cost $20. So there are some unrealistic expectations by some out there. So we talked about that at the beginning of the show. The podcast is up. We had the Alabama bullet points as well, the top stories from around the state. We also talked about the fact that Katie Britt and Tommy Tuberville kind of reacting to the socialist rise in the Democrat Party. Go on and play Katie Britt cut 2 for me, Walker, if you can.
Look, Bill, this is a sad day for America. I mean, the fact that this man could win an election is absolutely unbelievable. We know that this Democratic Socialist of America movement has shown us that they do nothing but hate America. We saw them actually on your very network talking about all of the things they wanted to see. No ICE. They wanted to see no police. They wanted to essentially do away with the government. No jails. All of these kinds of things. But let's connect the first conversation we had to this one. And when it comes to Iran and it comes to what's happening, he is actually a jihadist sympathizer. We saw him just 2 days ago, El Sayed, at a pool party with Hassan Piker, who said that America deserved 9/11. These are not people who stand with us and for our values, and they're infiltrating from within. We have to make sure to stand firmly and say we love this country, we want to fight for the citizens of this country, and we want to make sure that there's peace and prosperity here and across the globe.
Okay, cool. All right, there you go. So we talked about that earlier. The podcast is up. We also talked about the latest in Iran. We had Cameron Smith on. He's a columnist with AL.com, also with the Tennessean at Tennessean.com. President Trump had comments on Iran. Apparently, there could be a potential deal as soon as today. That's according to Trump. Go ahead and play Trump Cut 1 for me, Walker.
And we're doing the same thing, by the way, in the lovely Islamic Republic of Iran. We're not going to have I'd rather make a deal because I don't want to kill people. I do not want to kill people. But at some point we were set for the biggest attack of any attack, and we've hit them very hard for the last few months. But we were all set for the biggest attack since World War II. And they called me and they said, please don't do it, let's talk. And then they said, we never said that. You know what? The fake news knows they did say that, but we are talking. Let's see what happens. But they respect us. They respect us. It's been 47 years, but really it's been 50 years because they've been saying 47 for 3 years. It's been 50 years. And no other president has done what you should have done a long time ago because Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Can't have it.
All right, and I know J.D. Vance commented on this as well. Go ahead and play the J.D. Vance cut for me.
If they want to make me own the effort to try to bring this war to a successful conclusion, I'm happy to let them make me own it. I am absolutely trying to do that. Those oil prices are going to come down and stay down. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, and the United States will be in a stronger position. But we're kind of in the middle of the game, and I think people are trying to prejudge exactly how this is going to go.
All right, there you go. So the podcast of that segment's up as well.
This is the week.
We had What's Trending. I mean, that was a little bit of Katie Britt talking about Iran, too. We had What's Trending as well earlier on. So the podcast of that is up if you missed it. Go out of text messages on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Appreciate y'all listening to the show today. If you missed any of it live, podcast is up. You can also listen live at WVNN.com. The Vince Show is coming up next, and I'll be back tomorrow at the same time. See you then.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast.
I'm your host, Megan Klingenberg, and after interviewing so many dudes during this Men's World Cup, I'm so happy to be back with my U.S. Women's National Team players.
I know the U.S. Men's National Team has changed how I think about myself, how I think about being an American, how I think about being on a team.
It's 1 year out from that World Cup, and we're going to talk about the brightest prospects in U.S. soccer. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henkel. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.